This is The Week.
Another major week in the shooting death of Oscar Grant from New Year's Day.
And it is our united stand here tonight that represents the power of people.
The arrest, the extradition, and the arraignment of former BART officer Johannes Messerly. Time now for our top story spotlight. It's a story that just keeps unfolding. The shooting of Oscar Grant at the BART station in Oakland on New Year's Day. It's now more than 2 weeks in the past, and last week in downtown Oakland, riots spilled into the streets of downtown Oakland. Rioters smashed the windows of Oakland storefronts with no nod toward who deserved it or who didn't. Those riots started with the peaceful demonstration last week, and this is what I found when I went to talk to the people who were protesting at the Fruitvale BART station. Kind of an unusual situation here as the protest is going on. They've actually shut the station down. They're bringing yellow caution tape across on the inside, and they've actually brought the external gate down at the BART station so no one can even approach the BART turnstiles. The protest continues out here in the lobby with signs that read things like "BART Police, wanted for murder, thou shalt not kill," and all over the place you see signs reading, "I am Oscar Grant." Tell me your name.
My name is Julius.
What brings you out here tonight?
About how the cops had killed a young man for no reason, and he was just trying to go home to his family.
Have you ever ridden BART and been scared?
I ride BART basically every day to commute to school. Then now, because of this, I feel nervous to get on BART, because how would I know if a cop would not do the same thing to me?
If you could talk to the BART cop whose gun went off, what would you tell them?
I would tell him to tell the truth about what he did. That's what I tell him.
You can very clearly hear the whoosh of the BART train as it travels overhead, very obviously not stopping because of all the activity that's here at the Fruitvale BART in Oakland. It's a very active situation with some profanity, and people are kind of pushing and getting a little bit agitated here. We learned late this Wednesday afternoon that the BART police officer who shot and killed Oscar Grant III at the Fruitvale BART station on New Year's Day, in fact, submitted his resignation on Wednesday afternoon. Johannes Messerly's attorney and union representative reportedly submitted his letter of resignation at a meeting with BART investigators in the morning. And Messerly had been actually scheduled to meet with BART investigators yesterday, but his attorney delayed that meeting. And now that he has resigned from BART, it seems as though he is not going to be able to be compelled by BART to talk about what happened on New Year's Day. Officials say that it appeared that Messerly had been cooperative, but so far, 7 days after the fatal shooting of Oscar Grant, still no investigative interview on the part of Johannes Messerly. There's clearly sort of a feeling of racism, although all of the faces here are not African American by any stretch. There's a large number of white faces. There's Asian people here I'm seeing. And now the crowd's starting to chant, "Don't shoot." And it's just a real feeling of community, unity, and sort of sorrow at the death of this 22-year-old father on New Year's Day. Reporting from the Fruitvale BART station at the protest, I'm Sebastian Kunz, Green960. Fast forward now to this week. We ingested and digested the footage of people using Oscar Grant's shooting death to cause random mayhem after the peaceful demonstration last week, and we heard for the first time since the shooting the voice of the former officer, Johannes Messerly, as he spoke to a judge in Nevada.
I like to waive extradition.
That's all he said. But it was a day after Alameda County District Attorney Tom Orloff finally made the announcement that many were wondering if it would ever come.
The evidence indicates is an unlawful killing done by an intentional act.
And that takes us to Wednesday of this week. Another protest, this time a march from Oakland City Hall to the Alameda County Courthouse and back.
It's a truck where apparently the drums are beating. It's sort of the epicenter of the action going on here in front of the Alameda County Administration Building this Wednesday evening. People saying, raise your hand. It is the last time a police officer will kill one of us. One of the things I'm noticing is just everyone, and I mean everyone, has their cell phone camera out taking pictures. There are cops. You do see cops, but they're in their riot gear, and they're really very sort of understated and subdued presence for the cops here in Oakland tonight. I'm able to see more of what the SEIU signs are saying. Respect Oscar Grant's memory. Oakland families are united. Please don't trash Oakland. I feel really compelled again to talk about the racial component to tonight's gathering. There is definitely a feeling of racism. I said this at the protest a week ago at the Fruitvale BART station. It feels like there's racist accusations being leveled at the cops, no doubt about it, but the faces leveling those accusations are not one color. There are African American faces here in large numbers. There's a whole bunch of white faces, people who are Asian or Hispanic gathering together, and it is not about race here in Oakland. It is about police brutality, according to the protesters out here today. They've gotten... It is complete with live instruments, this rally and walk back to Oakland City Hall. In fact, it's so unified and so organized. They have sort of ushers and people guiding the route along the sidewalk, asking people to please stay in the street. And they want to keep the rally together, and they want to try and, I'm guessing, eliminate or prevent the violence and sort of straggler effect, which may have been a factor in what happened 1 week ago. One of the women I spoke to tonight was actually a teacher, and in doing her own independent research discovered something she found troubling, so she was compelled to come out, march, and tell people her story. Tell me about what your sign is and why it was important for you to bring it up tonight.
Well, it started with the murder of one of my students' older brothers, Jose Luis Buenrostro Gonzalez III, in front of the school where I teach in East Oakland. He was shot March 19th of last year in front of our play yard while all the kids were out at recess, so it was witnessed by the majority of our student population. And nothing has happened in the case to bring justice to him. He was shot in his pajamas, 15 years old, so I've been doing some research around police shootings in Oakland and found that many of them have been killed by the same officers, most of the officers with very little experience. They're all represented, all 9 families are represented by the same lawyer, John Burris, who has done nothing for any of them. So I just want people to see the trends in young minority males being killed by police and it being swept under the rug.
I stand proudly by the side of my Christian pastor. I stand proudly before our young. We stand together proudly here with black, brown, red, yellow, and white who are here on the call of Oscar Grant, in whose name we gathered for justice. Because of our united demand, that officer has been brought to the first stage of justice. However, we want to be very clear. An arrest for a police officer in this county is the first stage of justice, and unless we make our demand strong, it could be the last stage of justice.
Minister Keith Muhammad there with the Nation of Islam speaking at Wednesday's protest this week in front of the Alameda County Administration Building. Messerly pleaded not guilty this week to the murder charges in Alameda County Superior Court. Bail hearing for Messerly is in 2 weeks.